That's my actual lunchbox that I take to work with me. So Justice League was fine, I guess. I didn't hate it, but I can't say it was a good movie. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, though. Certainly wasn't a painful experience, unlike, But I can't help but think that this wasn't the best version of the origin of the Justice League, specifically when it came to the villain, Steppenwolf. Not that he was weak necessarily, but just that he was bland and generic, and I felt like I'd seen this type of bad guy before. I just feel like there was a better route to go down with regards to who the Justice League fights in their first live-action movie. I'm not saying I know more than Hollywood and that I can do this better, but I do know more than Hollywood, and I could have done this better. Okay, so in writing the script, I realized that in order to do it right, I am going to have to spoil the end credit scene to Justice League. I'm not going to talk about the main plot overall, nothing in detail, just what you know from the trailers, but I will mention the post-credit scene. So if you haven't seen it yet, and judging by the box office, you haven't, maybe skip this video if you still want to go out and watch it. So the basic plot of the Justice League movie is that a group of superheroes band together to try and stop an invading army from destroying and taking over the world. Does that sound familiar to you? Like, at all? Like this might have happened in a movie from like 5 years ago? Look, I know that we really shouldn't be comparing the DC films to the Marvel films. It's not a fair comparison to make. You know that. And I know that. But it's impossible to not compare the Justice League to the Avengers, especially when the Avengers set the gold standard for how to do a team-up movie in a big cinematic universe. Justice League needed to do everything it could to differentiate itself from the Avengers to show that this isn't just a Me Too franchise, but it really didn't do that. I mean, the main villains in both movies are looking for magical boxes with unlimited power. Loki is looking for the Tesseract in the Avengers, and Steppenwolf is looking for the Mother Box in the Justice League. Actually, Steppenwolf is looking for 3 Mother Boxes. He's looking for a box. The point remains. Now, this isn't a bad setup for a story, it's just that, it was done before, and they needed to do something to differentiate it from the competition, especially when they haven't been as successful as the competition. So what should they have done? Well, if you ask me, instead of starting off right away with the threat of apocalypse, why not start with the Legion of Doom?
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
Not now!
Okay.
Or the Injustice League, the Injustice Society, the Secret Society of Supervillains, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's different right off the bat. Instead of one big villain from another world trying to take over and conquer it and looking for a MacGuffin, you get a whole group of supervillains together. This way, the League doesn't have to spend screen time facing wave after wave of generic henchmen. They can actually fight colorful characters. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's say that Justice League opens with that terrorist attack scene that Wonder Woman foils, only instead of a bunch of randos, it's one of her known villains. Let's say Dr. Cyber. I think she's cool. She would get beaten naturally and thrown in jail, but she would get broken out by Deathstroke the Terminator. Deathstroke then takes her to see Lex Luthor, who's waiting for her with an adversary for each of the other members of the Justice League. You got Lex for Superman, obviously. Aquaman doesn't have a lot of known villains, but I mean, Black Manta always works as a foil for Aquaman. It's always fun to see those two go at it. Cyborg also doesn't have a lot of known personal villains, but Deathstroke can cover that field perfectly because, as I mentioned many moons ago, Deathstroke was originally a Teen Titans villain, and Cyborg was originally a Teen Titan. Batman and the Flash have a lot of villains you can pick from. Just make sure it's a villain who we haven't seen yet on the big screen, and a villain where it would make sense for them to be a part of the team. That means not Jared Leto's Joker and not Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang, you're welcome, but also not Ra's al Ghul and the Reverse Flash. Those two guys don't really work well with others. Someone like the Trickster could be good going up against the Flash, and I don't know, Clayface for Batman? Actually, now that I say that, that'd be rad. Think about it, Clayface versus the Batman, live action on the big screen. You want to see that. The point I'm trying to make is that for every one member of the Justice League, there should be a counterpart on the Legion of Doom. And I mean, really, what better reason is there for a group of superheroes to get together and team up than to go up against all of their villains, who also happen to be teaming up for some reason. And what's great about having Luthor in the mix is that he can be the mastermind of it all, just waiting in the wings, financing everything and planning everything. And then when Superman finally comes back, he can don the green and purple power suit and they can just go at it and have a boxing match in the street. Plus, this would be a great way to differentiate themselves from Marvel. One of the biggest criticisms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that they have just lackluster villains on screen. Aside from Loki and maybe Ultron, they never really get the proper amount of time that they deserve. I mean, granted, we're focusing more on the heroes in those movies, but the villains just don't seem like as big of a threat as they possibly could be. Let me ask you, who was the villain in Civil War? Did you forget it was Zemo? You probably thought it was Iron Man. A lot of Marvel fans will even admit that DC has a better stable of villains, and Warner Brothers could have used this to their advantage. Now, granted, this could have screwed up the whole Darkseid is Coming story that they set up so elegantly in Batman vs Superman, but maybe not. Luthor could still be on the hunt for the mother boxes and just need the Legion of Doom's help to find them. This could help to subtly build to Darkseid and the New Gods rather than just half-assing it and throwing Steppenwolf right into the mix right away. Now, it does look like that some sort of anti-Justice League is going to be the focus of the sequel, if we ever get a sequel, that is. And right now, it is kind of pointless to just talk about what DC and Warner Brothers should have done. I mean, that's the easiest thing in the world, to sit behind your computer screen or in front of a camera and talk about what they should have done. But I am not ready to give up on this series yet. It does look like DC and Warner Brothers are turning things around. At a snail's pace, but they're getting there eventually. And maybe this next Justice League movie will be the Justice League movie that we deserve, one that rewards us for our patience for watching all of these movies, rather than feeling like an obligation. And if it does do the Injustice Society or the Injustice League, Legion of Doom, whatever the hell they call it, I think that can go a long way to putting them back on top. But what do you guys think? Do you think Steppenwolf was a good choice for the first villain in a Justice League movie, or do you think they should have gone another route? Who do you think their first adversary should have been? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. Now, if you're new here and you don't know who we are the Wulff Den. We put out videos every single week. Tuesdays is a video game video, Wednesdays is a comic book video, and Saturdays is a show called The Backlog, where we go through our collection and just talk about a random game from it. It's pretty fun. Those three shows, Tuesday Games, Wednesday Comics, and Saturday The Backlog, all debut over on Twitch. Debut there at 10 o'clock that day. So come watch us there. We will be in the chat. We will be talking to you about what we're talking about on screen. But if you can't make it, don't worry. They will go up on YouTube immediately after. So if you subscribe to this channel, which, let's be honest, you should subscribe to this channel, you will see it. You should definitely subscribe to this channel because YouTube is the only place where you get to see Wulff Den Live, our live weekly podcast where we talk to you about all the nerdy news of the week, including my full opinion of the Justice League movie. So subscribe to see all of that, like this video, and share with a friend who also didn't think Steppenwolf fit for the Justice League movie. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.